How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Steinsgate Linear Bounded Phenogram, where the lab is on fire again. We're just going in circles at this point. We've literally jumped from world line to world line to world line and back to the original world line, or at least a very close approximation of it. And then we tried to jump again, and now the lab's on fire again. So, yeah, we gotta fix this. I caught a glimpse of the flames through the window, and they looked stronger than last time. Yeah. Oh, we're later this time. Oh, we can't keep doing that. Ooh, we have to time leap now, because if we don't have access to the machine, we can't get out of here. So, yeah, that's bad. And if we repeat ourselves and come back again, ooh, that could be trouble. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Because here's the thing. I didn't do very good of a recap here because the lab's on fire, but we're just looping over and over. Like, why are we getting stuck like this? We gotta figure out something to break the cycle. Something gotta break. I thought my skin would burn just standing here. Wait, last time? Could I have returned once again? Gonna check. I've been through this world line once before, which would mean this is world line number 2. That's absurd. Why? At this point, I wasn't concerned whether this was a so-called near world line or not. Either way, it was certain that this is a world line very similar to world line number 2 that I previously experienced. I don't know why. How did it come to this? The email sent to Kurisu's cell phone said Tail Mayuri. How does that lead to us here? Dang it! But more pressingly, having said this though, I didn't seem like there was much I could do.
なあ、消防車まだ来ないのかよ。
駅の方で大きなビル火災があったんだって。そっちの方に駆り出されてるみたい。
Oh, fetch a second fire?
このままじゃ隣に燃え移るのも時間の問題だな。
I heard the voices of the crowd, but when I look toward them, I see Mayuri in my periphery. Mayuri! Even in the middle of this disaster, as soon as I saw Mayuri, my heart started to dance. But I couldn't run up to her and call her name with joy, because Mayuri was crying. She was sitting on the edge of the sidewalk, her shoulders shivering. By her side was Kurisu, trying to comfort her. Kurisu had her arm wrapped around Mayuri's shoulders and was whispering something to her. My feet instinctually carried in their direction. I stand beside the two of them. Sensing my presence, Mayuri spoke as slowly raised her face toward me. No, don't be so sad. I don't know what to say to her. While searching for words, Mayuri continued. Aww. Seriously, no problem. Don't even think of it. Apparently, I managed to rescue Mayuri out of the fire this world line too. It's getting more and more certain that this is either world line 2 or near world line 2. Mayuri said repeatedly, tears trickling down her face. Without saying a word, I laid my hand on her head and gently stroked her ash-covered hair. Then came Daru. He spoke blankly as he stared at the blazing fire.
それにしてもあのスケブもったいなかったな。オカリン、気を落とすなお。なんで俺が？だってオカリンも大切にしてたじゃん、あのスケブ。高校の頃から2人で一緒にコミマとかコミティとかコミイチとかを回ってさ。
Wait a minute, is this sketchbook really like a divergence has caused all of this?
それで少しずつ集めていったイラストがあの中にはたんまりと詰まってたわけで。
Oh, that is actually kind of cool.
待て。2人で一緒に。お前はそう言ったか。
Excuse me.
何か問題でも？
その二人というのはダルと。
もちろんオカリンのことだお。
Right.
バカな。俺はそんなイベントに行った覚えなどないぞ。
一酸化炭素中毒、脳細胞がやられちゃったん。僕とオカリンの2人であのイラストを集めたのは間違いないよ。
But why?
とにかくこれで借金の返済の当てはなくなっちゃったわけだけど。
Ooh, that's also bad.
待て、その2だ。借金とスケッチブックとどんな関係がある？
何それ、本気で言ってるん？
It was too much of a hassle to explain. I just told Daru that he's right about the carbon monoxide poison to get the conversation moving.
病院行った方がよくね？
その話を聞いたらすぐにでも行く。だから教えてくれ。借金とスケッチブックの関係は？
Right.
単純なことだ。あのスケブをタブオークションに出品したらちょうど300万円の値がついたんだ。
Oh, wow.
落札したのは確か出版関係の仕事をしてる人で、名前は忘れたけど、とにかくその人が今夜8時にあのスケブを買い取りに来ることになってたんだ。現生を持ってね。
Oh my gosh. That's what they mean by it. They mean the sketchbook. They don't mean the IBM 5100.
だけどこの火事じゃもう。
I see. The debt's interest of 0% if it was paid within a month. So if we sold the sketchbook and received the 3 million yen, we could have paid the debt in full. But
ナダル、ここは思い切って借金を踏み倒すというのはどうだろう。設定された利息は法律に反しているから返済の義務はないみたいなことを助手は言ってたぞ。
そんなのが通用する相手だと思うん？アットちゃんに書いてあったじゃん。
what? Daru took out a cell phone and turned the browser screen toward me. The page said as following.
ダル、お前見せるべき書き込みを間違えてないか？ここにはモンド審判は良心的って書いてあるぞ。
Mondo Shipan. Mondo Shipan is really fair. Shipan can be trusted as better than any credit company. Seriously, nobody can refute this. Bad credit, no problem. News can't cover it. It's so real. Oh, fetch. This is red flags everywhere. They have such bargain prices. No force, no pressure here. Health insurance, whatever you need money for, they've got you covered. Reminds me of my own mother. Will you give it a try? Then crush all the competition. You won't regret it. That sounds so sketch. It's just bad. Oh my gosh.
嘘は嘘であると見抜ける人でないと難しい。
One must be able to see a lie for what it is. The words of Matt Chandler's founder describes how to properly use internet message boards. In some ways, one could even say it holds true for media literacy in general.
オカリン、本当に覚えてないん？このアットちゃんの書き込み、ゆうべも見せたっしょ。その時はスラスラと普通に読んでたじゃん。
I thought for a while.
いや、今もスラスラと普通に読んだが。
何それキモい。笑えないよオカリン。こんなの縦読みに決まってんだろジョコ。
Read vertically. Reading characters vertically to discover some kind of simple code, typically by reading the first character of each line. One can piece together the code in question. Well, alright. Miss Okay. Do I have a pen? I have no idea. It's gonna have to explain to me because I don't want to sit here the whole time trying to figure out a code. I'd love to be able to figure this out. It'd be really fun, and that's one of the downsides of playing on my own, but like, frankly, I kind of want to just move on with the story. I don't want to sit here all night. So what is it? What is it? It's kind of cool though. Wait. There we go.
縦読み？はあ？縦に読むのか？
Yeah. Now that he mentioned it, I finally realized what I was doing wrong. I look at Dara's phone screen once again, reading the first word of each line. So Mondo Shippen, seriously bad. They... Oh, I get it. They know it. You... That... They know it? Or... Mondo Shippen... Shippen seriously bad. No, dues. They know it. Will they you? I'm not sure. I'm still not reading it right. Mondo Shipping is seriously bad news. They force insurance money. They force insurance money. It will crush you. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so it literally is just the first word of each line, regardless of capitalizations. I got hooked on the capitals. Mondo Shipping is seriously bad news. They force insurance money. It will crush you.
モンド審判ガチやばい。保険金かけて沈められる。
ちなみにこの書き込みを見つけてくれたのはマキセ氏ね。オカリンがモンド審判でお金を借りたことを知ってマキセ氏がググったんだ。
Ah, so it was Kurisu. Encrypting code like this would be a piece of cake for Chandler, Chris.
で、この書き込みをきっかけにして他にもモンド審判についていろいろと調べてみたんだ。そしたら出るわボロボロと怪しい噂だらけだったんだ。
So that's who tries to do the whole, like, kidnapping thing, I think.
オカリン、マジやばくね。このままだとオカリン、本当に沈められちゃうかも。
Alright. Crush. Crush. No. I don't want to be crushed. I really don't want to be crushed. So what should I do? Email? Time please? As I contemplate this, I look up at the Ohiyama building. Yeah. Oh! I might not be able to do it either. Seems like the flames have gotten even stronger. I mean, this is bad. Really, really bad. I finally regained my cool. The sketchbook, the debt, the possibility of ending up at the bottom of Tokyo Bay with cement shoes, all merely minor concerns. Compared to the harsh reality that our precious sanctuary, filled with so many fond memories, was being incinerated in front of my eyes. This obviously takes precedent. Furthermore, beyond those flames lies the phone wave named such a change time leap machine. That gadget, product of mere coincidence. Once it turns into ash, we will never be able to recapture it. What am I supposed to do?
どうするも何もないか。
Of course you do. Oh, here we go. I growl to kick the ground.
な、オカリン、どこ行くん?
I hear Dara's voice behind me, but I don't have time to respond. I ran up the stairs toward the second floor, looking straight ahead. So that's bad. I opened the door and burst once more into the lab. This would be my third time. No matter how many times I enter this scorching hell, I don't get used to it. Furthermore, the more I repeat it, the hotter and hotter the fire gets. The fire hotter and hotter the fire gets. That's one of those translation issues. The flames have spread wide and now lick the ceiling. I can't breathe. I can barely keep my eyes open. The extreme heat penetrating deep into my core, and I feel like my internal organs were being burned. But even then, I couldn't back down. I covered myself in a nearby lab coat, and with all my resolve I could muster, jump through the raging flames. Luckily, most lab coats, especially if it's like a real lab coat, not like some kind of prop or cheapo one, which it might just be a cheap one, but if it's not, they actually are designed to be flame retardant, at least resistant. I clear the roaring sea of flame and into the development room I go. When I tumble in, the phone wave interchange is lying there on its side, undamaged. The X68000, the monitor, keyboard, and headgear are all there. But in this extreme heat, it's possible that the sensitive internals are damaged. Oh my gosh, what if this is what causes the problem with his memory? I press the power button on the X68000 with a prayer on my lips. With the distinctive CRT startup sound, the monitor lit up.
これぞまさにシュタインズゲートの選択。
Oh no. I had already decided what to do. Steinsgate is telling me to leap. Then leap I shall! I will leap to the past. The fire will eventually reach this place, destroying all these machines in the process. But even if the machinery could be saved, it cannot simply access this lab burning down at a historical truth. It'd cause a lot of trouble for the neighbors, and the owner would probably beat me to death. Probably. Which is why I must prevent by any means necessary this fire from breaking out. And in order to do that, I must time leap. I did not consider D-mail to be a valid option. I'd already sent one, this world line number 2 after all. It allowed me to prevent the fire, but in its place... Yeah, that. I still think that was fake blood, personally. I hope it was. Anyway, there's no time. The fire's getting distressingly close. I type away at the keyboard, inputting settings. The time leap destination is 3 hours ago, 180 minutes. Because we still haven't closed the book on Mayuri's kidnapping case, I chose that time in order to give myself enough time to investigate it. The preparations are all made. What about the TV? The 42-inch CRT downstairs should still be on. I already confirmed it on the way up here. Good. The headgear's already on my head. Now all I need to do is activate the time leap machine. Are we sure we want to do that, Okabe? Nope, there's nothing else to it. I took several deep breaths and spoke.
よし行こう。
Let's go. And back we go. Akihabara, huh? A sound like knives in my ears. My head feels like someone struck their claws in my brain, shook as hard as they could. I clench my teeth until it passes. Then, when my pain eventually subsides, I notice Kurisu's face right next to mine.
どうしたの？大丈夫？
A cell phone in my right hand. The sun in my sky to my west. The hands on my watch point to 4:40.
タイムリープ成功か。
え？何？
Yeah, that's what you heard.
あ、いや、なんでもない。
I'll have to tell her all about time leaps eventually. But right now, I needed to get a grasp on my surroundings. I turn to Kurisu and ask,
俺たちは今何をしている？
は？
意味がわからないだろうが、今はひとまず何も聞かずに教えてくれ。わけは必ず後で話すから。頼む。
Kurisu narrows her eyes in suspicion. Then realization dawns on her face. She looks directly at me.
いけない。こんなところで立ち止まってる場合じゃないわ。行きましょう。
Okay.
行くってどこに？
決まってるじゃない。マユリの後を追うのよ。
Right. Kurisu runs down the street. I look beyond her to see Mayuri's tiny back, slowly moving into the distance. I see, that's one of my mysteries solved. Apparently, Kurisu and I were following Mayuri. I rushed to keep stride with Kurisu.
D メールが届いたんだな。マユリ尾行せよ。犯人捕らえねば。誘拐阻止困難の D メールが。
そうだけど、どうして今さらそんなこと聞くの？
Alright. We keep moving as we talk. Looking straight forward, trying not to lose sight of Mayuri.
D メールが届いたのは何時何分だ？
15時24分。ちょうど橋田と買い出しをしているところだったわ。
ダルはどうした？
だから置いてきたって。残りの買い出しを任せて、私は一足先にラボに戻ったの。
Right, okay.
ねえ、そんなことよりもこのやりとりは何？からかってるの？
No.
わけは必ず後で話す。そう言っただろう。で、その後は俺にメールを見せたのか？
マユリにもね。
Yeah.
なんだって？
I couldn't help but stop. But Kurisu kept going. I immediately ran after her and asked,
どうしてマユリに教えた？それでは尾行の意味がないだろうが。
教えるべきだって言ったのはあんたでしょ。
俺が
マユリの気
Why
配
am
を
I
消していなくな
weird?
る能力は異常。普通に尾行しても見失ってしまう可能性がある。よってマユリにも伝えておくべきだ。
Okay.
そもそも誘拐の危機が迫っているというのに、本人にそれを教えなければ警戒のしようがないだろう。そう言ったじゃない。
To be fair, there's a logic to it. The idea is that like something bad might happen to you, so we're gonna follow behind you and just keep you in sight to make sure nothing happens. Naturally, I had no recollection of ever saying this, but it certainly sounded like something I would say.
じゃあマユリは俺たちが尾行してることを知ってるんだな。
あれが知らない人間の挙動だと思う？
Mayuri stopped walking with an exaggerated stretch, turning around to look at us. After confirming that we were still there, she places her hand on her side, sneakily waving at us and turning back to start walking again. Sheesh.
一応普段通りに行動してとは言ってあるんだけど。
Yeah, well, the thing is that it's normal for Mayuri.
まあある意味普段通りではあるが。
さあ、そろそろ教えてもらえる？一体この記憶喪失ごっこは何？
How many times I have explained the same thing. If I included all the other world lines, it would be impossible to count. But I have the hang of it now, so I've done it so many times. I know just how to make Kuroshu understand as quickly as possible. That said, as quickly as possible still takes quite a while if I start from the beginning. By the time I'd explained everything, the world around me has dyed a deep crimson. Yeah, there we go. He's walking around Akihabara. Jeez, we're literally going everywhere.
それにしても犯人のやつ一向に姿を見せないな。
かれこれ1時間以上も尾行を続けてるけど、接触してきたのはティッシュ配りのお兄さんだけね。
So here's my thinking. Maybe in the first world line when she was kidnapped, the book got destroyed earlier. Like, didn't he drop like Dr. P on it? And like, maybe that's why they made the move to capture her. But here, the sketchbook is still safe, and so they have no reason to go after her.
メイド喫茶のスカウトにも声をかけられないとは情けないもんだ。
Yeah. We're just going in a circle now. Kuroshu had apparently asked Mayuri to wander around Akiba without any particular destination in mind. Mayuri did as she was told, wandering all over town. Having a blast, I'm sure. Kuroshu and I maintain our distance, but continue to follow after her.
ねえ、念のため確認しておくけど、イクスイコール黒マントの連中と考えてもいいのよね。
Yeah, yeah. Kuroshu asked me as we move.
はあ。第三世界線でラボにやってきたのは連中だからな。
I continued.
ただし、今どこかでマイリを連れ去る機会を伺っているのだとしたら、あんな身なりはしていないと思うが、いくらなんでも、あの格好では目立ちすぎる。
そもそもこんな人の多い場所でマユリを拉致しようとなんてするかしら。
The very moment Kuroshu expressed her doubts, a dark shadow crossed the road in the distance, and by the time we realized it, Mayuri had disappeared. Are you freaking serious? Huh? I was dumbfounded.
行くわよ、ホコベ。
Fetch! Kuroshu's sharp voice strikes my eardrum.
くそ
Yeah, right! I break into running, my feet pounding the asphalt. It just took a freaking second. Oh my gosh, it is the fetch! What is even happening here? And Mayuri, you could like resist, maybe? We turn into the alley and see a black shadow running along, pulling Mayuri's hand. A black hood. You got some nerve, you son of a gun. You think you can take Mayuri away in public while it's still light out, and all the while wearing such a conspicuous outfit?
ふざけやがって。
I spread up and ran as fast as I could toward the black hood. Little by little, I closed the distance. I've already passed Kuroshu, and now she's behind me. She yells.
待ちなさい。
But that's hardly enough to stop the black hood. He won't even turn around. He continues to run toward the distance, pulling Mayuri along. Then suddenly, both of them disappear. They'd reach the end of the road and turn right at the corner. I take the same turn onto Chudodori. The sidewalk is packed with people. Fetch! When I look down the street, I can see the Black Hood and Mayuri weaving through the crowd. I maneuver through the crowd and follow. I bumped shoulders with some people that didn't care. At this rate, Mayuri will be taken away. The plan will fail, the worst will happen. I chased after the Black Hood with all my might, putting those unsettling thoughts aside. Then Black Hood suddenly changed course, running across Chudori to the other side of the street. There were no crosswalks or traffic signals, so he took Mayuri and darted through passing cars. I immediately followed suit. Fortunately, there was a break in the traffic. Not in my back. I ran across the opposite sidewalk, but as I stepped onto the guardrail, I heard a roar behind me, the snarling of a car's engine. I can't help but turn around, where I saw Kurisu in the middle of Chudori. She's running this way, but a car's coming at her from the side. A white van. Violently. What the fetch? I remember this van. It's like Isekai Truck, but early version. Accelerating straight toward Kurisu.
Kurisu!
Oh. I know it's like a terrifying thing that's just happened, but that's a really cute picture of Kurisu. Anyway, when I came to, I was on top of Kurisu's body. Oh, lovely.
Oh, すまん。
なんで謝るのよ。助けてくれたんでしょ。
I guess I did. Right before the car was about to crash into Kurisu, I managed to tackle her and prevent the accident. But because of my body had moved unconsciously, it doesn't feel like I did anything to save her.
バカ。一歩間違えば、あんたまで惹かれるところだったんだからね。
Oh, this is really sweet, but Mayuri's totally gone now. That's not good.
ありがとう。
With tears in her eyes, Kurisu murmured.
本当に。ありがとう。
It's called fetch. She repeated her words of gratitude, trembling with fear. Kurisu bites down her lip and wipes her tears from the corners of her eyes. I look away uncomfortably and pull myself to my feet to escape the emotional situation. I quickly scanned for the Black Hood, but he's nowhere to be seen. This is bad, really bad. Well, try heading in the direction the Black Hood was going. Right as I start to move, I saw something out of the corner of my eye, something couldn't overlook. That white van from earlier had smashed into a shop along the road. Perhaps the driver swerved to avoid us losing control of the vehicle and crashing into the side of a building. We needed to chase the Black Hood ASAP. I know that 100%. But I can't ignore the situation where someone could have been hurt. I shouted with frustration and ran toward the scene with Kurisu.
大丈夫ですか？誰か怪我人は？
Wow. Kurisu calls in the building. This is probably the first fire, isn't it? Yeah. Which means that Mayuri probably goes with the Black Hood back to the lab, probably to give them the sketchbook. A voice, likely that of an employee, responds.
店の方は大丈夫です。みんな厨房の中にいたんで、それよりも車の方は。
That's right, the car. Is the driver safe? Is there any passengers? When I tried to peek inside the car, the man came crawling out of the broken glass. I recognized his eccentric fashion. This man, who seems to be to shine by Gia herself, is Gaia. Oh no. Poor D.
シードだ。つか、なんで知ってんだよお前。
運転していたのはあなた？
見りゃわかんだろ。
Honestly, it was hard to believe he'd even be allowed to drive.
他に同乗者は？
いねえよ。
乗っていたのはあなた一人だけなのね。
だからそうだって言ってんだろうが。
Right. What a relief. No one was hurt. Given the clarity and vigor with which 4 degrees Celsius is speaking, he must be okay. When I look over 4 degrees Celsius' shoulder at the car, I can see that the airbag is deployed on the driver's side.
シド、お前のことは気に入らないが、一応念のため確認しておこう。無事か？
てめえ、喧嘩売ってんのか？
Okay, sure, yeah. Door-to-door fight salesman. That's a great deduction, Sherlock. You got us. You pegged us. You got us.
300万で売ってやろう。
上等じゃねえかこの野郎。
Uh-huh. He roared in anger and swung his right hand into the air. In it, he held something like a crowbar. Something like a crowbar. In fact, it was a crowbar. Crowbar equals get hit equals die. After this succession of thoughts bolts through my mind, I strike the wait, no need to be rash pose. Then I speak.
待て、早まるな。
4 degrees Celsius wasn't rash. He didn't even have the time to be rash. Before he could get rash, someone blew in like a hurricane.
確保！
Holy crap, what?
やべ。
Who? 4 degrees Celsius was tackled to the ground face up. On top of him was a police officer in uniform. Huh?
やめろ。離せって言ってんだろうがこら。
Oh, he's in so much trouble now. 4 degrees Celsius persisted still. Despite the cop holding him down, he still squirms around like a little cockroach. Before I knew it, 2, 3, 4, 5 officers were holding him down. Under their combined strength, 4 degrees Celsius' movement had been completely contained.
くそ、覚えてろよ。ただじゃおかねえからな。
Why? Several officers pick up 4 degrees Celsius and begin carrying him away. They then shove him into a cop car that was parked just outside. Kind of lucky your police moves here. Could have seen I just looked at each other. Fortunately, an officer approached us and snapped us out of our befuddlement.
お手柄でしたね。
It was the officer who first tackled 4 degrees Celsius.
さっきの人、どうしてパトカーに？
あいつは有名なコインロッカー嵐でしてね。窃盗の常習犯なんですよ。
Right. What a surprise! Not. Seems like something he would do.
大ビル前のコインロッカーご存知ですか？つい先ほども奴はあそこで犯行に及んでいたのです。
Interesting.
それをパトロールしていた我々が発見しまして、いわゆる現行犯というやつですな。
What was he trying to lift?
そこで当然のごとく逮捕しようとしたわけですが、奴は近くに止めてあった車に乗り込み、逃亡を図ったんですよ。
だからあんなにスピードを。
ええ、そしてその結果があれというわけです。
Said the policeman as he pointed to the white van behind him with his thumb. Then I suddenly realized that the officer was holding something in his hand. Something wrapped in a white handkerchief. I casually asked about it. The officer was more than happy to state my curiosity.
ああ、これですか。これは先ほど奴がコインロッカーの中から盗み取ったものです。
That's good to know.
バールでロッカーの扉をこじ開けてね。
Dang, something so small, huh?
見せてもらえますか？
ええ、いいですよ。
And with that, the officer opened his palm and took a look at the item on the white handkerchief in his hand.
懐中時計？
Fetch! What? Okay, what?
違う。これはただの懐中時計じゃない。懐中だ。
Yeah, there was no question about it. This was pockety. Mayuri's treasure. There was no way I could mistake it.
おや、ご存知なんですか？
Yeah.
へえ。知り合いのものです。あ、そいつは弱ったな。逮捕にご協力いただいたということで、お返ししたいのは山々なのですが、一応これも証拠品なのでね、署で保管しなければならんのですよ。ご理解いただけますかね。
Yeah, but the nice thing is that's temporary. It'd be evidence. Once they document the evidence, they should be able to have it back. If I remember, like, stuff like this, like, a lot of the documentation, like they'll want to go over it for prints and stuff if they're going to go that far. But then they'll take pictures of it and they'll put everything in file and then they usually return it. Like it wouldn't take more than like a couple weeks most likely.
ところでこれ壊れてますよね。ガラスのところがひび割れちゃってるし。
もともとこういう状態だったということは？
ありません。マユリはこれを何よりも大切にしてたんだ。いつだってピカピカに磨いて。
そうですか。では先ほどの事故の衝撃によるものでしょ
う。Probably. A burning heat boils up from the core of my body. My head began to swim and my indignation began to white out my vision. I raised my head and looked for the police car that 40 degrees Celsius was thrown into. But the car had already driven off. Yeah, I know, right? Cursing in annoyance, I kicked the nearby white van.
ちょっと岡部、落ち着いて。
Kurusu grabs my shoulder to calm me. It doesn't stop my anger. He just destroyed Mayuri's most important treasure. The pocket watch that she selflessly pawned for the future of our laboratory. Huh? Wait. What was that pocket watch inside a coin locker?
とにかく、あのシドとかいうやつのことはもうどうしようもないわ。それよりも今は。
わかってる。探そう。黒マントとマユリを。
I respond before taking one more look at the crashed van. It had crashed into a delivery pizza place. The cracked plastic sign said Pizza Rat in large letters. The black hood took Mayuri towards the station. We ran to the front of the station to try and look for them, but...
いないわね。
No surprise there. We lost sight of them 10 minutes ago.
別れて探しましょう。
悪いな。
なんで謝るの？
I blankly followed the movements of the crowd with my eyes, then spoke.
お前を巻き込んでしまったからだ、クリスティーナ。
Then Kurusu placed her hand on her hips. I thought my hips. I was like,
巻き込んだんじゃないわ。自分から巻き込まれに行ったのよ。さっきのあんたの話によると、第一世界線の私は自ら進んで協力を申し出たそうじゃない。だから私は自分の携帯から自分宛てにマユリを尾行せよという内容の D メールを送った。
Hey.
でしょ？
That's interesting that this is the first documented D-mail that Kurusu really sends. Like in a previous storyline in this, we know she did a time leap. But normally she flat out refused to do D-mails. I understand why, but it is interesting that we actually have a documentation of her doing a D-mail.
自分一人で全てを動かしてるだなんて思わないで。それはうぬぼれってもんよ。
Yeah.
世界のありとあらゆる事象は複合的に絡み合った因果によって構成されている。
Well, at the same time, though, it kind of revolves around him because he's the only one that maintains his presence of mind.
日本語で頼む。
日本語で言った。
Kurusu sighs and continues her thought.
とにかく、私はマユリのためなら協力を惜しまない。なぜなら、私はラボメンのうちの一人だし。
Yeah.
それにあんたのサイドキックだから。
Aww.
サイドキック。
ググりゃカス。
Google it. I love, like, I know it's Google, but like, I love it's Guggle. A strong way of telling a poster to look at something up themselves instead of asking on a message board. The implication is that if one were to simply run a quick search, they'd find the answer they were looking for immediately. Yeah, I'm guilty of that sometimes.
それじゃあ、マユリを見つけたら連絡するから、そっちも頼むわよ。
Aww. Said Kurusu as she disappeared in the crowd of people. Sidekick. I muttered the odd English word in my head once again and pulled out my cell phone. When I googled it, there were a number of hits for Web Dictionary, so I opened one of them. There, the word was defined as follows. Sidekick. Noun, friend, comrade, partner, assistant. I felt something connect. Or at least, I thought I did. Then I started to search for Mayuri and the Black Hood. I scoured through the city of Akiba through and through. They're not there, bro. They went to the station. They could be anywhere now. I would only remember that the lab still catches fire likely tonight, so let's figure out if that actually happens. But in the end, I couldn't find them. That's when I found myself in front of UPX. Of course, I tried calling Mayuri's cell phone again and again, but the only thing I heard was a mechanical voice saying, "The number you've dialed is unavailable." I'm racked with guilt. The plan failed. It backfired. Even if Kurisu came up with the idea of world line number 1, I still couldn't cope. In retrospect, letting Mayuri loose and waiting for the perpetrator to show up was a reckless idea. It's not Kurisu's fault. I am to blame. It's all my fault. I held my head and fell to my knees. When I was just about to say, like, wasn't the second world line the one where we woke up in front of this building with Ferris in the green dress? And we were like, what are we doing here? And she's like, what do you mean, what are you doing here? Like, we just kind of happened to meet up here. And then he just, like, took off. A voice reaches me. When I look up, Ferris is holding her hand out toward me. I don't know what this means. Confused, I take Ferris's hand and stand back up. No, she's been made now. Oh, that makes sense.
Kurisu.
Kurisu.
誰だそれは。日本語で頼む。
He said that a lot.
じゃあ、クリスティーニャ。
助手か。っていうかお前、あいつのこと知ってるのか？
当然にゃ。クーニャンはメイクインニャンニャンの常連にゃ。最初はマユシーが連れてきたんだけどにゃ。
What world line are we in? She was cringing hard at that place last time, even though I'm sure she secretly liked it. Oof, what a world line.
それで、クーニャンから何もかも全部聞いたにゃ。
全部とは？
Ferris ignored my question and just kept going.
今日これは機関による陰謀にゃ。下級かつ速やかに時空郵便を送らないと大変なことになるにゃ。
Probably yes.
時空郵便ってなんだ？
時空郵便は時空郵便にゃ。
I mean, it makes sense. Come on, Okabe. Think it's not that complicated. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume she's referring to a D-mail here. The funny thing is, I actually think a space-time mail is much cooler sounding than D-mail or DeLorean mail.
というわけで、すでにダルニャンに連絡して電話レンジの設定を頼んであるにゃ。
Wait, what are we gonna send now?
時空郵便の文面もフェイリスの携帯に入力済みにゃ。
Is this Kurisu interfering again, but using Ferris as like a guinea pig?
あとは京馬がダルニャンに電話をかけてゴーサインを送るのみにゃ。
待て待て待て。お前は一体何を言っている？
いいからフェイリスの言った通りにするにゃ。
Ferris strikes a kitty punch stance and hisses at me. Of course she does. It wasn't frightening, but I faltered for a different reason.
時空郵便は15時23分以降に届くようにしてほしいってダルニャンにお願いしてあるにゃ。
Everything's it's just minutes around this 3:20 mark. Fetch.
これはその前に京馬の携帯に届いてるはずの2通の時空郵便を生かすためにゃ。
Right.
マイルの外出断固阻止せよと評議会は中止、火を使うなの D メール。時空郵便のことか。
そうにゃ。その時刻よりも前に郵便が届いちゃうとその2通が消えちゃう可能性があるからにゃ。
So I guess it seems in this one we've somehow stumbled into like a fourth path, but it's an offshoot of the second path, so like this one's like a 2.2? I don't know.
特に火を使うなの方はラボの火災を阻止するために絶対に生かしておきたい郵便なのにゃ。
Right. It was hard to believe, but Ferris seemed to know exactly what was going on. That's what's making this all feel really suspicious, honestly. Like, I'm feeling like we've got other people time leaping right now. Because another thing is that we're in the same timeline that led to the burning lab, and we don't have a message that says, like we only have the one. So why is she talking like we have the two? Or was the other one sent to Mayuri's phone? I can't remember. Ah, it's getting confusing.
次に宛先の件についてにゃ。今度はマユシーに送るべきだと思うにゃ。
Okay.
マユリに
Wasn't her phone about to die though?
マユシーに危機感を持ってもらうためにゃ。この世界線では京馬とクーニャンが頑張ったけどうまくいかなかったにゃ。
Right.
だから次回はマユシーにも問題を共有してもらうことによって自分の身は自分で守ってもらうことにするのにゃ。
Alright, alright. I am starting to get real paranoid here because I'm thinking like, weren't we worried at one point that Mayuri's phone might be bugged? So why are we sending messages to Mayuri's phone? Why is someone so insistent to this? And then why is she talking about this fire text that we don't seem to have? It's almost like Ferris has been jumping between world lines with us. And Kurisu was acting really strange too. When she sent the first email back to her phone, she was acting a bit out of character as well. And she wouldn't even like tell us what the D-mail was, which is really suspicious. In fact, the D-mail that we were sent for the ransom note, we didn't know where it had come from. Kurisu was at she was at an internet cafe. She easily could have made her own email. Matter of fact, the time she took to formulate the email might have been set up by her. But why would she do that? Unless she's not really Kurisu. And this might not be really Ferris. But they seem so much like themselves. So why are they doing this? And again, like the main line seems to be Kurisu. Ferris might be just repeating what Kurisu just told her there. And if that's the case, then Kurisu is still being the odd one out. Also, it's weird, now that I think about it. Now that I'm starting to look for things, Kurisu referring to herself as a sidekick seems very out of character. Because it meant assistant. But it wasn't assistant, the word he used. And she's used assistant in the other ones before. So why now is she referring to it differently? Why is she working through an intermediary through Ferris again? Maybe trying to draw this off of her? Why is she acting so strange though? I'm really starting to think there's something deeper going on here with Kurisu, now that I'm really starting to look at the pieces. Well, we already tried that in this world line. It didn't work. But fine, I'll hear her out for now.
最後に時空郵便の内容についてにゃ。やっぱりマユシーは絶対にラボの外に出しちゃいけなかったんだと思うにゃ。だからラボで待機するようにって内容の郵便を送ることにするのにゃ。
That's actually what we tried to send last time too, though. That didn't end up well.
ダメだ。そんなことをしても意味がない。結局ラボにとどまったままでも黒マントの連中がやってくるからだ。
そんなの分かってるにゃ。
How? Kurisu couldn't have told you all of that.
分かってるけど、それって願ったり叶ったりなんじゃないのかにゃ。だって京馬とクーニャンは今血眼になって黒マントの連中を探してるわけにゃ。
You know, you could try and set up a sting, like call the police and say that like people are trying to break in.
それが向こうからのこのことやってくるんだったらこんなに美味しいことはないにゃ。
だが
戦うのにゃ。京馬、怯えていてはダメにゃ。閉じこもったり後を追いかけ回したりしてるだけじゃ決してマユシーを助けることはできないのにゃ。それにどっちにしろこの世界線でも黒マントの連中と戦うつもりだったんじゃないのかにゃ。だからあえて尾行なんて危険な真似を。
Okay, I'm getting all itchy because I'm really not liking the feeling I've got right now. That's true. Ferris is exactly right. I felt like the world was opening up before my eyes. That's right, I should fight. No, I have no choice but to fight. If we return to Mayuri getting kidnapped or the lab getting burned down, no matter what I do, then I have to fight the Black Hoods. As I thought, though, through this, I became more and more energized. I let out a noble laugh.
その通りだフェイリスよ。さすがはチェシャーブレイクの使い手。今のはあくまでもお前を試したまで。決してうじうじと悩んだり落ち込んだりしていたわけではないぞ。よかろう。やらいでかという言葉の意味はよくわからんが、とにかく戦ってやろうではないか。ついにこの右腕の封印を解く時が。
In the middle of my wonderful speech.
もしもし、ダルニャン。
I realized Ferris had out of nowhere, pulled my phone out of my pocket, and started making calls.
おい、フェイリス。
Again, that's a little out of character for her.
いいから黙ってるにゃ。
Daughter's giddy voice was so shrill I could hear it through the phone in Ferris's hand.
じゃあ早速だけど、電話レンジ起動にゃ。オッケー。約束のオムライスの件、よろしく頼むよ。分かってるにゃ。100皿作ってあげるにゃ。
Uh-huh.
おお、なんという胸熱。全俺が泣いたおう。って言ってる間に放電現象来た。
So dramatic. Alright, so my chest is burning up. Oh no, this is all of me wept. A parody of All of Us Wept, the catchphrase often used when advertising Hollywood films in Japan. Nobody in America is gonna cry, and I doubt anybody else will, but I did. Is that really a common advertising ploy? Like, all of us wept? All of the US wept? Oh, so all of the, like, United States wept? Interesting. That's weird. And then my chest is burning up. You used to describe when someone's moving or happy is on the verge of happening. Something moving or happy is on the verge of happening. Okay, oddly phrased, but I get it. I was anything but prepared for this. But once she hears those words, Ferris looks at me and said,
それじゃあ行くにゃ。キューマ。
Ferris places her thumb on the send button of her own phone. Right as she pressed it, I caught a glimpse in the words written on the screen. They said following. No going out. Lab is safe. Fight blackheads.
せーの。ポチッとにゃ。
Terrifyingly consistent, isn't it? Like we're being made to dance. My vision trembles, as does my brain. And that's where we're going to end for tonight. I'm getting creepy vibes here. Creepy vibes. Because remember, the first D-mail we got that triggered all of this was a D-mail that told us that Mayuri was kidnapped and we needed to leave the stuff in the place, you know? Who, I was saying before, that terrifying thought of someone who we don't know accessing the D-mail, like being able to send emails. But the more logical answer to that predicament is that it has to be somebody who knows how they work. And thus it means that the list of suspects really is limited to lab members. And in this world line, very few. So that starts pointing this finger around back to Kurusu, doesn't it? And the weird behavior she had, very strange indeed. So what's really going on? How's Kurusu tied into this? Maybe was she forced to do it? Maybe somebody at the cafe like prompted her to do it? Or is there something weird going on with Kurusu right now? Because there are just oddities. And like now that I'm like really thinking about it, they're standing out so severely, I can't dismiss it. I'm really wondering if I'm just becoming freaking paranoid here, but I feel like there's enough science here to make it feel legitimate. But how could this be happening? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it really just doesn't make any sense. But we'll have to figure all that out next time. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. As always, it's a pleasure having you here. It's a pleasure being able to share this all with you. Steinsgate rumbles forth, and we'll be done with it, sadly, soon enough. Hopefully mages won't be so ridiculous with my channel as they have been up to now, but I don't think it's going to change. So I'm just happy to be able to make the content. Thank you guys, and thank you mages. Like, by the way, I really appreciate what you do. Like, anybody who, if I ever have anyone listening to this who is a part of that company, thank you for making this game. Thank you for letting it happen. Like, it can be frustrating doing with the YouTube side of stuff, but honestly, I'm just happy to play the game. I'd rather be able to play it. Even if I had to play it on my own, I'd be playing this. So it's like, I'm just happy it's a part of my life. So thank you so much for that. And hopefully you guys can make some good content. And anybody else who's listening, never be afraid to make yourself and start your own projects. You never know what's going to blow up. You never know what's going to make it big. The most important thing is making sure you make something you can be proud of. But yeah, it's time for us to end for tonight. So hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you have a great start to the next month, because fetch, man. This year is flying by. But until the next video, watching me up. See me in next. I'll see you there.